Hi everyone, Sean Walbin with Secure Cyber, and this is your weekly cyber update. Well, first off, in the headlines today, the Trump campaign is indicating that they were hacked by Iranian hackers and that there was some exfiltration of data. This is really nothing new. This is a normal event in any election cycle, regardless of what side you're on or what political affiliation you have. And it's just something to bring awareness to an election cycle that outside, regardless of how you think about this, outside influence can happen. We're looking at a lot of fake things on X in regards to, and I've got an article about that here in a minute, deep fakes and, just misinformation, disinformation. So do a lot of homework this year as we get closer to the election. Verify the things that you do see and just make sure that you're putting some effort to verify that these things are real. We'll put the reference to articles down in the description. Second article that we're going to look at today, it's estimated 2.7 billion data records were taken with Social Security numbers, last known addresses, and other personally identifiable information from a company called National Public Data. Now, apparently, National Public Data does scraping off the internet of publicly accessible information. This data is used for investigation work, background check information. You've got private investigators that can get access to this as well. So just keep in mind that this data is available. Apparently, it's been leaked. It's been leaked in several different forms. The threat actor US DoD is claiming responsibility for this. We have seen a lot of activity with US DoD in the past. I think they tried to sell this for about $3.5 million. And I'll just comment real quick. We see a lot of these threat actors getting a hold of information and then trying to sell the information or auction it at very high amounts of money, anywhere from $50,000 to millions. It's very difficult for them to sell this information. They want so much money for it. I think it just makes it very, very difficult for this to happen. So just keep an eye. Having Social Security numbers compromised really is on what cycle, how many different times has Social Security numbers been taken. This is just a really good opportunity to tell you to freeze your credit, monitor your transactions, all those types of things, because identity theft, increased phishing emails, all those types of things can occur on the backside of an incident like this. And the third article we've been looking at is an article indicating that X has a lot of fake content out there right now, specifically around the Ukraine war and earthquakes being used as clickbait. Twitter or X has always had a problem with bots, even before Elon Musk got a hold of it. And this is just something to keep aware on. I mentioned it in the very first article, especially as we get around election cycles, when there's wars going on. It's very, very, very important, especially on things like Twitter, Instagram, X, Instagram. You guys know what I mean. It's very easy to get misled. So please don't take things that you see on social media as face value, and make sure that you're doing some homework to validate what you're reading. And the last article I wanted to go over today is the Sumter County Sheriff's Office in Florida has fallen victim to Recida. As you know, we've been covering Recida here on this channel for a little bit now. They've compromised the city of Columbus, although the city of Columbus hasn't really recognized that they were the threat actor that did it. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't have the actual evidence. I know just because the threat actor claims responsibility doesn't necessarily mean that they're the ones that did it. We see that in terrorist attacks very often, that sometimes the terrorist organization that claims responsibility isn't actually the one that did it. So that's generally why that happens like that, and you get that disconnection of information. But anyway, the Sumter County Sheriff's Office, the evidence that Recida posted was just awful. They provide proof on their dark websites in order to validate that they actually have the information. It was a picture of a passport. There was a fingerprint card. There was a lot of just awful stuff. If that was actually made publicly available. So pretty much we're at DEF CON 2, 1. in regards to a lot of local government organizations being compromised. These are local governments. These are schools. So school districts generally fall under local government. As we get towards the first day of school, we generally start to see an increase in attacks by threat actors trying to not necessarily interrupt the school day or the school system or the start of school, but there's usually this angst that gets built up, right? I mean, schools want to start school. So if they fall victim to a ransomware attack, a lot of times that can accelerate and maybe entice the school district to pay the ransom. And while we're on that topic real quick, I wanted to clear a couple things up with this whole double extortion thing. I know I've talked about it before, but if this is the first time you're listening to this newscast, I want you to understand that generally organizations pay the ransom because their backups fail. And a lot of threat actors will do this double extortion thing where they want you to pay to get your data back, but they also want you to pay them so that they won't post the data online. Now, the second half of that, as far as like from an extortion perspective, there's no honor among thieves. So just because a threat actor promises that they're not going to post your information doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to go ahead and do it. So generally, we don't see threat actors or we don't see victims paying the second half of that ransom in order to stop their information from being posted online. It's my opinion that once it's taken, I think you can pretty much consider that who knows what they're going to do with it. But definitely on the first side of that, that's why we preach a lot of making sure that your backups are good, that you've got offsite backups, and that you test often. So if that ever happens to you and you have good data and you have good backups, you generally shouldn't be in a position to pay the ransom, but you would definitely be in a position to go ahead and go through the whole process where you need to forensically identify who patient zero is and make sure that you've really identified how they got in, how they moved, and you're cleaning that up. Otherwise, you risk getting infected again. That's it for this week. We'll catch you next week on another edition of the Weekly Cyber Update. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, as well as hitting the bell icon so that anytime we post new content that you get that available. Don't forget we post CS Cyber at least once a week, where we go into a little bit more detail on some of the articles that we covered. And in the description of this, you also have the ability to sign up for our email alerts. That's a really good service just to keep you up to speed with what's going on. That's all for today. And hey, let's be careful out there.